Before we get started today, I want to know, do you need a little focused time to move your business forward? If so, join me for the Fun and Profitable Power Hour. It's a free co-working session designed to help you take action one small step at a time. You'll get structure, community, and a little bit of celebration at the end. Sign up at wendymuzzy.com/power hour. I cannot wait to cheer you on. Hey there, welcome to episode 43 of Your Fun and Profitable Online Business. This is the podcast that helps you grow your business with intention, momentum, and just the right amount of confetti. I'm your host, Wendy Muzzy, a certified money coach, online business strategist, and I help entrepreneurs create businesses that feel as good as they look without drowning in overthinking or procrastination disguised as planning. This episode ties beautifully back to last week's conversation, where we dug into information overload, why you keep buying things without implementing them, and how your digital core self might be slowing you down. Today, we're talking about the silent business killer that keeps brilliant, capable women stuck, overthinking their next move. Now, I want to normalize something right up front. Overthinking doesn't happen because you're confused. It doesn't happen because you don't know enough, and it definitely doesn't happen because you're not cut out for business. Overthinking usually happens because you care. You want to get it right. You want to use your time well. You want your effort to pay off. And that instinct for your work to matter is a really good thing. But when it turns into stalling or second guessing, it hurts your business and keeps you stuck. So let's take some of that weight off your shoulders and look at what's actually going on beneath the surface. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the two main reasons why overthinking happens. Reason number one, fear. Overthinking almost always has a fear story underneath it. Usually it sounds like, what if I choose the wrong thing? Or what if it doesn't work? Or what if I waste my one singular good idea? Or what if someone else out there has already figured out a better way? There's an unspoken belief baked into a lot of entrepreneurship. It's that if I just do this correctly, I'll be successful. So the pressure builds, and that pressure creates fear, and that fear creates overthinking. But here's the truth I often share with clients. Overthinking is your brain trying to protect you from risk, especially financial risk. But the irony is that it often ends up costing you way more in time and confidence. And that's not a fun and profitable business. Reason number two, it feels like productivity. Now, this reason is the sneakiest of all. Thinking feels like planning, planning feels like progress, progress feels like productivity. But here's the trap. None of it creates results without implementation. All of the maybe later decisions pile up like browser tabs that are open. And you know what happens when you have 272 tabs open? You get a slow, glitchy, buffering brain. You feel tired. You feel behind. You feel like everything is an uphill battle. But it's not you. It's the mental load and all those open decision loops. Now, with those two main whys in mind, let's talk about the most common places I see these loops show up in business. It's email overthinking. This is drafting the same newsletter 6 times because you don't want to sound too salesy or it's too long. But the real fear is, will people like me? Will they judge me? Will people unsubscribe? It also shows up in offer overthinking. This is creating 14 versions of an offer because saying this is good enough to sell feels too vulnerable. They keep thinking, I just need to add one more thing, even though one more thing is what's slowing them down. Also, there's systems overthinking. This is hours spent restructuring Trello boards or relabeling Airtable fields without ever doing the tasks the system's meant to support. This is fake productivity at its finest. There's also strategy overthinking, running endless what-if loops and scenarios. What if I wait until the kids go back to school? What if I price it at $197? What if I say it this way? What if I do it that way? This is all fear disguised as logic, or logifying, as I like to call it, at its best. Now, before we jump into the solution, let's get honest about the real cost of overthinking in your business. First, we have lost momentum. And you know how much I love momentum talk around here. Momentum's like a muscle. And when you lose it, your energy dips, your confidence dips, and everything feels heavier. You start asking yourself the wrong questions, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? But it's not a capability issue. It's a momentum issue. Next, we have missed data. Now, the researcher in me loves data almost as much as I love momentum. Here's the problem. You're searching for answers before creating the data that gives you the answers. You can't optimize something you've never tested. You can't refine what you never sent. You can't adjust what never made it out into the world. Overthinking blocks the very feedback you need in order to make better decisions. And finally, we have the emotional drain. This is the one that people most often underestimate. Overthinking is exhausting. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because your brain is thinking too much. All right, now let's walk through the 5-step process to stop overthinking. Step 1, get clear on the question. Most people are trying to answer 12 questions at once. Well, people think this is dumb. Should I offer it now or then? Is it too long? Is it too short? Is it really the best idea? Am I charging too much? It makes sense that they're spiraling. And if you're here, you need to simplify. Ask yourself, what is the simplest version of this decision? 9 times out of 10, the real question is so much smaller than the other ones that are piled on. Step 2, look at the data, ignore the noise. Noise is the drama that distracts you from your goals. The data is where the patterns are. And this is where you stop looking outside and return to your business. Pull your KPIs, look at your numbers. And if you're stuck here, come back to your goals. What are you aiming to do right now? Come back to your capacity. What do you realistically have the space for right now? And come back to your priorities. What matters most to you in this phase? Step 3, identify your viable options. Now, 2 options are the sweet spot. If that feels too limiting, which I totally respect, top it at 3 options max. Anything more is going to create a maze. And this is enough to move forward without overwhelm. 2 to 3 viable options. Step 4, pick a decision deadline. Now, this is the part that frees your brain. If a decision doesn't have a deadline, your brain will keep reviewing it on an endless loop. So pick a date, put it on your calendar, tell someone, and commit to decide by then. Now, both yes and no move you forward. Maybe is what keeps you stuck. Step 5, take your next best step. Here, you don't need a whole plan. You don't need your whole thing mapped out. You just need your next best step. Small steps build momentum, and momentum is what gives you answers, not the other way around. Here, ask yourself, what's the first step of this decision? Or what's the smallest test I could run about this week? When you start moving, your brain will naturally quiet down. All right. Now, those are the 5 steps. And I know these sound really simple, like, hey, just do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But let's talk about what to happen when you catch yourself in an overthinking loop. With a clear mind, create your decision rules. Here are some ideas to try. If it's between 2 options, pick the one that energizes you the most. If saying no brings you relief, go with it. Trust yourself. If it aligns with your biggest priority, default to yes. If you tell a friend to go for it, take your own advice. Go for it. And if you thought about it for more than 2 weeks, decide within the next 48 hours. Now, if you're an action taker like me, pick 10 to 15 minute tasks related to the decision and just do it, because small action breaks those spirals. I want you to know that overthinking isn't a sign you're not ready. You are so ready. Stop the thought loop and make it happen. All right, here's your action step for this week. I want you to pick one decision you've been stalling on, set a decision deadline, and commit to deciding it by that date. Want to go the extra mile? Send me a message with the subject line decision deadline and tell me the decision, the deadline, and your next best step. I'll personally follow up and cheer you on. And if you need a space to make things happen with other amazing people who get it, join us at our next virtual co-working session. It's free, it's fun, and there's confetti. You can find out more at wendymuzzy.com/powerhour. All right, that's all for today. Until next time, happy decision making.